Hello everyone, welcome to CNA, the daily newspaper analysis. So today we are back with the following list of topics to discuss. So let's start. The first topic says about identifying minorities. So recently, the Supreme Court has asked the center to furnish the collections of the state's views on identifying minorities. तो यहाँ पे ये सुप्रीम कोर्ट के द्वारा बोला गया है सेंट्रल गवर्नमेंट को कि आप लोग के हिसाब से जो माइनॉरिटीज है इन दिस कंट्री, ओके, तो इनको आप लोग डिटरमाइन कीजिए. मे बी इट मे बी ऑन द रेस्पेक्टिव टू रिलीजियस माइनॉरिटीज, लिंग्विस्टिक माइनॉरिटीज. तो स्टेट वाइज कैसे आप लोग माइनॉरिटीज को डिफाइन करते हैं, तो उसका रिप्लाई सेंट्रल गवर्नमेंट से मांगा है. ठीक है, तो वी हैव सीन दैट इवन recently the Supreme Court has sought the central government's response on a public interest litigation challenging the provisions of the National Commission for Minority Education Institution Act of 2004. So recently the petitioners has argued that the NCME Act identifies minorities at the national and not at the state level, and thereby depriving deserving minorities in the states of their constitutional rights. Okay, so therefore today we could see that these minorities at national level have a significant population in many states. Supposedly, if I take the example of the Muslims, they are in majority in regions like Lakshadweep, Kashmir. Christians are in majority in regions like Nagaland, Mizoram, Meghalaya. Okay, so therefore today we have seen that those who follow Hinduism, Judaism, and Bahaism, they are minorities in regions like Ladakh, Mizoram, Lakshadweep, Kashmir, Nagaland, Meghalaya, Arunachal Pradesh, Punjab, and Manipur. So therefore, however, they cannot establish and administer educational institutions of their choice because of non-identification of minority at the state level, thus jeopardizing them their basic rights guaranteed under Article 29 and 30. So therefore, the term minority is not defined in the Indian Constitution. However, the Indian Constitution recognizes religious and linguistic minorities, और उसी के बेसिस पे यहाँ पे पूछा गया है सुप्रीम कोर्ट के द्वारा सेंट्रल गवर्नमेंट की कि आप लोग डिफाइन कीजिए कि यहाँ पे कौन से रिलीजियस और लिंग्विस्टिक माइनॉरिटीज आज है, जहाँ पे we can see that the overdominance of the Muslims as well as the Christians, basically they are in majority in these areas. Okay, तो उसी के बेसिस पे डिस्कशन चल रहा था. तो basically we should know about the identification of the minorities and their respective terms or the principles associated with the minorities. तो minorities जब भी बोलेंगे तो आर्टिकल 29, आर्टिकल 30 ये सब बहुत इंपॉर्टेंट बन जाता है. ठीक है, चलो नेक्स्ट पे आते हैं. Mechanism to offset China's threat. So recently what we have seen that India plans buffer in proposed Arunachal project to set off China's threat. So according to the National Hydropower Corporation report, China's proposed 60,000 megawatt hydropower project in Tibet is influencing the design of a proposed hydropower project in Arunachal Pradesh, Upper Siang district, which is still in its planning stage. Okay, so therefore China is continuously harnessing the hydro potential of the Brahmaputra river, which is affecting its flow, especially for India's proposed project. So the design of the proposed project incorporates the buffer storage of 9 billion cubic meters during monsoonal flow. And this could act as a store of water worth a year's flow that would normally be available from Brahmaputra or buffer against sudden release. So we all know about the Brahmaputra river, or the Yarlung Sangpo in China is a 2880 kilometer long trans-border river, which originates from Mansarovar Lake and flows 1700 kilometers within Tibet, 920 kilometers in Arunachal Pradesh, and Assam and Arunachal and Assam 920 kilometers, and in particularly 260 kilometers in Bangladesh. So therefore, it accounts for nearly 30% of the freshwater resources and 40% of India's hydropower potential. So therefore, today, the Yarlung Sangpo enters India after passing the Great Ban, which is known as the Namcha Barwa. Okay, so therefore, today we know that the concerns are very much with the Chinese building dams in this respective river. Okay, so therefore, China directly wants to tap the resource of this respective river and needs to convert and needs to directly direct the river's water into its purely dry area like Tibet. तो इसी के बेसिस पे यहाँ पे कंसर्न्स है हम लोग के ऊपर, because China has proposed to build up with a 60,000 megawatt hydroelectric power dam in Medong, Tibet, and are influencing the design of the proposed hydel power project in Upper Siang district of Arunachal Pradesh, which also wants to tap the potential of this river of Brahmaputra. तो ये obviously ये जो रियाम है सियांग, okay, this has been called with this name in Arunachal Pradesh, okay. So therefore we could see that it's a very important river where it is known as Siang or Debang, okay, and therefore we need to tap the potential of this river so as to make utilize the amount of water that this perennial river is directly making up to, okay. तो उसी के बेसिस पे ये कंसर्न है, तो इसीलिए यहाँ पे ये डिस्कशन किया गया है, okay. So यहाँ पे देख सकते हो, this is the Yalung Sangpo river, okay. So China is building 3 dams over here, okay. So this is the great band that is known as the Namcha Barwa, so we are trying to create this over here. तो इसी के बेसिस पे यहाँ पे एफर्ट किया गया है, ठीक है. चलो नेक्स्ट पे आते हैं, China's demographic shift. So we could see that recently China is doing what? China has seen that last year's birth rate was around 6.77 births per 1,000 people, which is down from a rate of around 7.52 births in 2021, which is marking the lowest birth rate on record. So the figures also lodged the highest death rise since 1974, registering 7.37 deaths per 1,000 people as compared with a rate of 7.18 deaths in 2021. So what we have seen that China's population fell last year for the first time in 6 decades, which is a historic turn that is expected to mark the start of a long period of decline in its citizens' number with profound implications for its economy. So the drop was worse since the Great Famine of 1961 also lends weight to predictions that India will become the world's most popular nation by this year. So the population dropped by roughly 8,50,000 to around 1,41,000 billion at the end of 2022. So the long-term UN experts see Chinese population shrinking by around 109 million by 2050, which is more than triple the decline of their previous forecast in 2019. So therefore, this is directly a concern of a country like China, which is today the world's largest populous country. Okay, and it is because of some of the autocratic decisions, such as the much demographic downturn can be seen with China's one-child policy that is imposed between 1918 and 2015. Also, Beijing's stringent zero-COVID policies that were in place for 3 years have caused further damage to the bleak demographic outlook, which population experts have said that 60,000 deaths COVID has revealed by Beijing on the weekend was likely less than a tenth of the real numbers. So they are modeling based on a current infection rates of about 65% of the population, pointed to a possible 1.2 million to 1.6 million COVID deaths by the end of 2023. तो इसी के बेसिस पे आज चाइना का वो एक यहाँ पे एक सिस्टम चल रहा है जहाँ पे we could see that the population is slowly and slowly staggering. Okay, तो वही जो कर्म करते हैं उसका फल इसी जन्म में वो भुगत के जाएंगे. कौन? चाइना. Okay, चलो. Pine needles creating livelihoods. तो what is that? So it's basically the pine needles. Okay, ये ऐसे दिखता है, ठीक है, क्योंकि वहाँ पे pine trees बहुत ज़्यादा available है. So we have got this pine needle uses excellent fire starters, flavoring for teas and vinegars, grill smoke to season meats, air fresheners, and of course mulching. तो आज यहाँ पे जो हिमाचल वीमेन है ये नीडल्स को क्रिएट करके नीडल्स को हार्नेस करके यहाँ पे ये लोग प्रोजेक्ट कॉल इंप्रूवमेंट ऑफ हिमाचल प्रदेश फॉरेस्ट इकोसिस्टम मैनेजमेंट लाइवलीहुड्स व्हिच मींस टू इंक्रीज इनकम एज वेल एज कंजर्व बायोडाइवर्सिटी. ओके, तो इसी के बेसिस पे ये लोग इसको यूटिलाइज कर रहे हैं and therefore we could see that today they are selling it and is directly making some of the revenue out of this respective pine needles. Okay, so therefore this pine needles, okay, which is basically very thin sharp leaves that grow on pine trees, which is basically the coniferous trees. Okay, so we could see that this pine trees has got better uses. Okay, इसमें बहुत ज़्यादा medicinal qualities भी होता है, ठीक है. So they can be seen like ये बहुत ज़्यादा exposure इसका भी बहुत खराब है, लेकिन through proper pigmentation and through proper process we could make it very much of reliant and which is directly creating livelihoods in this region of Himachal Pradesh. Okay, तो ये छोटा सा एक न्यूज़ था about this pine needles. Next, India's textile and apparel exports. So we could see that recently we could see that the textile industry is coming under greater environmental, social, and governance scrutiny, and traceability in supply chain and recycling of textile bags are vital going forward. So today we know that textile apparel exhibits April-December on cotton price rise, share of textiles and apparel on the total merchandise export slid to 8.7% from 9 to 8%. Okay, तो आज यहाँ पे हम लोग देख सकते हैं कि like what is the cotton production in India, okay, which is basically one of the raw materials of the respective textiles. So we could see that Indian textile and apparel market is currently estimated to be around $150 billion, okay, of which exports constitute to around $40 billion. Okay, so therefore today India holds 4% share of the US dollar 840 billion global textile and apparel market and is 15th position. So India is also the largest producer of silk in the world, and 95% of the world's hand-woven fabric comes from India. Also, India is the sixth largest producer of the textiles, technical textiles, with 6% global share, largest producer of cotton and jute in the world. So therefore today, if you see about cotton, so cotton में हम लोग second largest है, okay. Then silk में India is the second largest, okay, because 18% of the total world law silk production यहाँ पे ही होता है. Wool में भी India has the third largest ship population in the world, okay. Also man-made fibers में the fourth largest in synthetic fibers. Jute, India is the largest producer and second largest exporter of the jute goods. So what is the significance of this textile sector? We could see that economical, trade, employment, raw materials, all such sectors के लिए हम लोग यहाँ पे बहुत ज्यादा रिलाई करते हैं किसमें, टेक्सटाइल इंडस्ट्री में. So what favors or what factors favors growth of the Indian textile industry? It is the raw material base, labor flexibility, rich heritage, as well as the domestic market. But today we could see that there are various challenges faced by the textile sector, be it the highly augmented, okay, outdated technology, okay, also issues with the tax structure, export stagnation, lack of sale, as well as lack of foreign investments. So अभी गवर्नमेंट यहाँ पे बहुत सारे अपग्रेडेशन फंड स्कीम्स के तहत इसको प्रमोट करना चाह रहे हैं, सपोजली स्मार्ट स्कीम्स, समर्थ, जहाँ पे स्कीम फॉर कैपेसिटी बिल्डिंग इन द टेक्सटाइल सेक्टर के बारे में बोला जाता है. देन SITP, that is the scheme for integrated textile perks, ATUFS, amended technology upgradation fund scheme. So all these things today government is directly focusing much more towards making this sector very much a boom in the coming time. Okay, so therefore India needs to frame a suitable policy whereby the Indian textile industry can contribute to advancing our energy transition commitment. So to achieve the sustainable target, it is necessary to adopt the good regulatory practices and increase focus on quality, compliance, and respectively investments. Okay, तो ये थे इसका discussion. Lastly आते हैं editorial new free food grain scheme and illusion double speak. So this respective editorial speaks about the cabinet has announced under the Pradhanmantri Garib Kalyan Anna Yojana 810 million National Food Security Act beneficiaries that will receive 5 kilos of free food grains every month in 2023. So we have seen that this Pradhanmantri Garib Kalyan Anna Yojana, which is basically phase 5, it has been extended from December 2021 till March 2022. So expected total outgo of food grains is around 163 MLT. So यहाँ पे cost आता है 533,452 crore. Will provide food grains of 5 kg per person per month free of cost for all the beneficiaries covered under NFSA. So therefore, this was basically a central government initial process relief to the COVID-19 victims, where the nodal ministry was Ministry of Finance. So the beneficiaries under this will initially receive a good amount of rice so that they could directly make their household good. So यहाँ पे 1 kg of pulses के बारे में भी बोला जाता है. Okay, so today we could see that there are various issues directly making this respective scheme. So a family of 5 can collect 25 kg for free, and this is a reduction by half of the 50 kg of rice which has been given at ₹3 under the National Food Security Act. Also, the repeated extensions for 28 months seem to be with an eye on state elections. And the latest readjustments, it seems politically motivated to appeal to voters in 9 states that go to polls in 2023. यहाँ पे हम लोग बहुत सारे flaws देखते हैं, जैसे ration records have not been updated since 2011 census, and more than 40% of India's population is currently excluded from both the NFSA as well as this Pradhan Mantri Garib Kalyan Anna Yojana. So today, Tamil Nadu, Orissa, Rajasthan, Chhattisgarh, West Bengal have either universalized or substantially expanded coverage with state cards. Even the Supreme Court of India has directed the central government to expand the NFSA coverage. So were all poor covered under the scheme? No. The ration cards and the benefits of this respective scheme is all not poor. So therefore, today, squeezing the 100 days of work guaranteed under the National Rural Employment Guarantee Act, this employer of the last resort scheme is best systematically undermined by acute budget cuts. So today, if we needs to go beyond the mandate of the NFSA as being done under the PMGKAY, the government can supply the food grains at reasonable prices. Also, the diversions from PDS, central and state authorities needs to ponder over the scheme's continuance given the chronic problem of the diversion from the public distribution system. So only then we could utilize such number of schemes which is directly a need of the hour and could eventually help every people who is directly needing such number of free food for the respective family. Or else the other people who has got some of the links, they can only get some access, and this would directly hamper the goal of the respective schemes to provide free anna or free food grains to the poor who is basically needy. Okay, so इसी के basis पे ये discussion था, this editorial. So we have this 5 MCQs. Please do attempt these MCQs and do join our WhatsApp and Telegram channel for the further updates. Also do join us regularly at 8:45 p.m. sharp to get solved some of the past 25 years question papers on our YouTube platform. So that's all for today. Thank you and Jai Hind.